Hello, and welcome to the Drive to Thrive show, the show all about being yourself, being your best, and truly thriving in life, whatever that means to you. I hope you're well and having a great day, and thank you so much for tuning in. Today is our very first episode, and I am so excited to be sharing this with you. Being our first episode, today I want to share a bit about what the show is going to be all about, my story behind creating it, and most importantly, what's in it for you. Because this isn't all about me. It's not the Gary Rankin show. It's about you, about your goals, your growth, and your health, happiness, and success. It's a show all about personal growth. And in that, helping you to make progress with and excel at the things in life that are most important to you. So that you can be your very best for yourself, for your loved ones, and creating a life that you love. To help you to do that, I'm going to be sharing the very best of what I know, have learned, and experienced both personally in my own life and professionally as a professional life and mindset coach, drawing upon the experiences of my clients and the great minds of so many others. And so, let's dive right in. Why create a show all about personal growth? Well, personal growth is something that is very personal to me, no pun intended. I'd even go as far to say as it saved my life, and it certainly helped to make my life the thing that I love and appreciate so much today. As well as that, it's largely what my life revolves around as a professional life and mindset coach, working with high achieving entrepreneurs and career professionals and helping them to be and feel their best, perform at their full potential, and achieve their most meaningful goals so that they can thrive living lives that they love. But this isn't where I started or what I knew I always wanted to do. In fact, back in 2014 to 2016, I was in a bit of a dark place with anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts. Now, I didn't have a bad childhood, I didn't have a rough upbringing, and I didn't have any great circumstantial adversity to overcome. Quite the opposite, in fact. I've got the most amazing, loving, and supportive family that anyone could ask for. But back in my early 20s, I was completely lost. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And being someone who's quite purpose driven, not knowing what I wanted to do or what direction to go in was a really crushing weight. And spending time ruminating on this, trying to force answers out of myself, looking around myself at friends and people around me, going through university, progressing on the career ladder, I began to imagine the worst and I began to lose hope. I had this fear that I was never going to amount to anything and that my life was just going to be this sad story of wasted potential and regret. And through this and continuing in this cycle and continuing to ruminate on all these things, I developed some toxic habits of judging and blaming myself for not having the answers, looking back at past decisions I'd made regarding school and exams, and I just really get into a bad habit of bringing myself down and beating myself up. And this led me to feeling anxious, depressed, I was emotional eating and became quite overweight, and eventually this all came to a head when I started having suicidal thoughts. And when these thoughts came about, it was something that I spent, a good couple of weeks thinking about. And one day, lying in bed, I was lying there was a bottle of painkillers on the bedside table beside me, and I had a real good think about it. And I thought, as much as I don't want to be here anymore, I have the most amazing family and friends in the world. They mean so much to me, and I couldn't do this to them. And so, deciding not to act on those suicidal thoughts, I thought, well, I'm really stuck between a rock and a hard place because I don't really want to be here anymore, but I'm not going to do that. So something has to change, and I've got no idea what it is. And then I looked down at my rather large belly and thought, well, this isn't mine, and I know how to get rid of that. And then it clicked, healthy body, healthy mind. And immediately I grabbed my laptop, signed up to the gym, and booked my initial session, the kind of welcome session for the next day. And I kind of clung to that idea of healthy body, healthy mind desperately. Now, going to the gym the next day was a struggle. I sat in the car park for a good few minutes, bigging myself up to try and get in there because I was really self-conscious about what other people would think about me, whether I belonged in the gym and all that kind of stuff. But I did it. I made it into the gym, and after that first two times, I was there religiously 6 or 7 days a week. Now, when I was in the gym, I was going at it like mad. There was very little, if any, positive self-talk going on. I was in there telling myself that I deserved everything that had happened. I deserved to feel the way that I felt. I deserved the physical pain and punishment that I was feeling while I was in the gym. And this is something that took a while to then fully unearth from my subconscious and undo through, my own coaching and work on myself. But by continuing to go to the gym and stick with that, in roughly about 3 months, I'd managed to go from a 38-inch waist back down to a 32-inch waist. And then only a few weeks after that, I stood at the mirror and looked at this six pack that I hadn't seen since I was in my teens. And it was at that point that I actually hit my lowest point. Because as I looked in the mirror at this new physique, I realised that although I'd changed dramatically on the outside, nothing had changed inside. I still felt empty. I still felt lost. I still felt self-loathing. I still had no direction and absolutely no clue what I wanted to do. And the thing that I thought was going to fix everything didn't. And that was terrifying. And this is something that's so common in life with people. They go at this goal thinking that it's going to be a silver bullet and it's going to solve everything, and it doesn't. And tied to that, any shred of self-worth that I had was now completely attached to this new physique. And so I went on another year exercising like mad, completely obsessed with my image, posting my adventures and escapades on social media, for likes and external validation. And my insecurity actually went the other way, because now that I had this new physique, I was actually terrified. I was really insecure that people would think that I was arrogant and full of myself and some form of dick or A-type personality. And so even in summer, I was scared to take my top off because of what people might think about me. And through this year, the suicidal thoughts hadn't subsided. And I still didn't have the answers, and it often felt like it would just be so much easier to check out than it would be to try and find these answers and sort myself out. And so after about a year, I reached a kind of pressure point again. It was getting close to when my wee brother was leaving to go and live in America. My younger brother off to go and chase his dreams, move country. I was so excited for him, so happy for him, but also really sad because I was losing like my brother and best friend that we'd only really become close in the last couple of years. And as well as that, as well as being really happy for him, there was also this thought of like, shit, my brother who's 5 years younger than me, he knows what he wants to do. He's off to go and do it. He's going to go and chase his dreams, and I don't have a fucking clue. And that just like really added to the judgment and the self-loathing and all that stuff. And so I reached this point again where I was like, right, something has to change. I need to get out of here for a while. I need to clear my head. And I know that a weekend camping up north in the Highlands isn't quite going to cut it. And so I'd heard about season jobs, and I was like, oh my goodness, I can get out of here for like a full 4 months, like over summer or over winter. And so I started really quickly applying for season jobs, and it was already June, so the chances of getting one for the summer was potentially quite slim. And so I sent off this application to go and work in the French Alps because I love the mountains, and that year the Mountain Bike World Cup was going to be in the French Alps. And so sent off this application, and then 2 days later, randomly I get a call from this like London number, and when I answered it, it was the company phoning to do an on-the-spot interview. So I did the on-the-spot interview. They absolutely loved me, and they said, right, okay, we've got an opportunity for you in the French Alps on the condition that you can be ready to leave in just over a week. And I was like, whoa, I want to grab this opportunity with both hands. And I was like, of course, I would love to, please. Just let me go make a phone call and I'll phone you right back. And so came off the phone to them, went and phoned my area manager, told him my situation, what was going on with me, and that I've got this opportunity to get out of here. And fortunately, he said to me, Gary, you've always been amazing with us. You go and do what you need to do. Thank you so much for everything you've done for us, and our door will always be open to you. And I'll always remember that show of kindness, because when you're in a bad place and someone's kind to you, it means the world. And so I phoned the company straight back, told them I was taking the opportunity, and then that was it. I had like a week to kind of close off, pack up my life, and move on. So over that next week, packing my stuff, getting ready to go to France, and a few days before I went, like a thought came to me, which I now know is my intuition. And it was a thought saying, check out a self-help book. I was like, wait, what? A self-help book? I've never seen one, never heard of one, never mind read one. So I stuck it into Google, self-help book, and of course up comes Amazon. Went on to Amazon, bought the bestseller that day, and a couple of days later off I went to France with nothing but a big bag full of exercise gear, hiking boots, and this self-help book. So got a train down to London, bus over to the French Alps, quite a long journey. And on that train and on that bus, I read this book like my life depended on it. Because at the time, it felt like it. This was my last ditch attempt to go and sort myself out, to find some clarity, to find some direction, to heal my relationship with myself and my life. And so got that long journey to the French Alps, and when the bus finally got to the wee village where I was going to spend the week training, which I believe was Teens, and I just remember like stepping off the bus into the dullness of dusk, and all I could hear around me were like English accents of the other people getting off the bus. No offense to the English, it just made me feel even further from home. And as I stood there, I just looked at these ominous mountain peaks overshadowing me, and I had this wave of despair came over me, because I'd never felt so alone. I'd never felt so far away from home or from the people that I love, and my mind was just like desperately flashing ways that I could get out of this without looking weak or like a failure. And that's when that thought came through my mind: Gary, what the fuck have you got yourself into now? And looking back, whenever I hear that thought, the what the fuck have I got myself into now, I always hear that right before a big life defining experience in which growth occurs. And so I just grabbed my bag, got to my room, and started getting on with it. While everyone else was getting to know each other and partying, I was off getting a good night's sleep. And so did my training week in Teens, and then went off to Léger, this lovely wee village where I did my post for the summer. And over that first few weeks, I really began to ostracize myself from my peers, because they were all there to party, to have fun, and in a lot of ways to escape from something. Whereas I was there to be alone, to really face myself and to sort my shit out. And in those initial few weeks, in that initial month or so, it was only that sense of purpose and desperate drive to improve myself that helped me to overcome a very deeply ingrained victim mindset and that loneliness, because it was lonely. I was staying in a chalet, and there were guests in the chalet that I was to help like organize their activities and make sure they're having an amazing time, as well as that like look after a full hotel worth the guests as well. And I was just in this wee room with the chef of the chalet myself. And so sticking with the book, doing all the exercises in it, eventually the work began to show in a kind of subtle way. I just remember waking up one morning, jumping out of bed with my alarm. Previously I was like a serial snoozer, but one of the exercises in the book was like jump out of bed with the first alarm. And I remember jumping out of bed for like the second or third day in a row, turning the alarm off, getting straight into doing star jumps until I was completely out of breath. And then once I was out of breath, like under the sound of my own breath, there was just this silence. And that's when I noticed something was different. I noticed a feeling that I couldn't quite put words to. I just felt that wee bit more optimistic about my day. I felt that wee bit more optimistic about myself, and I felt that wee bit more optimistic about my life. And from that day on, the growth was exponential. My mind was a powerful tool that I was diligently working away at daily and vigilantly protecting from negativity constantly. You know, those weeks were just weeks full of radical self-awareness and becoming conscious of what was going on in my mind and shifting any negativity and turning it into positive thoughts, and really did me the world of good. And nearing the end of the book, I was out for a run one day round Montcherie, and I came back to the chalet and I was stretching off, and in that kind of post-run endorphin rush, I had like this lightning bolt of clarity hit me. And all of a sudden, I realised how I'd driven myself to anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts. Because I thought to myself, wow, I realised how I did it. You know, I've always had this drive, but I've never had a direction to channel it into. And so I drove myself mentally into the ground. And in that moment, I knew what that drive was. I was like, I've always had this drive to be great at something. And so it's the drive to thrive. And right there and then, the Drive to Thrive was born, which was the original name of my business, Gary Rankin Coaching, and is now the name of other parts of my business and this show. And in that moment, realizing that I'd had this drive to thrive and no direction for it, and that's what created all this, boom, another big lightning bolt of clarity hit me like a life-defining moment, because in that moment, I thought to myself, wait a minute here. If I can change how I feel about myself and my life so dramatically just by changing how I think, then anyone can do it, and it's my responsibility to let the world know it. And in one beautiful, deeply intimate personal moment, I found my purpose, I found my calling, I found my mission, whatever you want to call it. And cheesy as it sounds, it's completely true. And for me, that moment was beyond conveying in words. Like freeing, liberating, releasing is the closest I could ever come, because I'd never had that sense of clarity before. I'd never had that sense of direction before, and I cried. And most importantly to me at the time, I'd never had that sense of joy and pride, and that I could go and phone my parents and go, I know what I want to do with myself, and I'm going to make something of myself. And so in that moment, I was finally free of the crushing, suffocating weight of having no direction, no clarity, next to no belief in myself and no hope of sorting it out. And there and then, I was free with direction, drive, and a sense of purpose. And so from that day on, the goal of becoming a successful life coach has been my life. It was an instant obsession. And that day I made plans to come home as soon as my contract was finished and would allow me to. And so I made the plans to come home, and then for the rest of that time in France, I was this infectious, unstoppable, positive force going everywhere with positivity, purpose, because everything that I was doing day in, day out was all building towards a better me and this goal of being a life coach. And people noticed, the guests noticed, other staff members noticed, and anyone and everyone that asked about me or what was going on, I told them my experience, and I told them exactly what I was going to go and do. And now I'm living it. That's the coolest thing, is that I told people what I was going to go and do, and I did it. And the funny thing is, when I had that moment of clarity and decided I'm going to be a life coach and I'm going to change the world, I knew next to nothing about being a coach. The only reason I knew what a life coach was is because the author of the self-help book was a coach, and he'd described a wee bit about what he does. And not knowing anything about being a coach, I certainly had absolutely zero idea that being a successful coach would mean needing to be a successful business owner and entrepreneur. And that was a tough learning curve at first. You know, first learning to want to be those things, to appreciate being those things and learning how to do it. And it was a tough identity shift as well. And identity is a hugely important part of our mindset in achieving our goals. And so we will be dedicating a full episode on that, so much more on that later. And so while in France, I did as much research as possible into becoming a coach and what it meant, and came home from France Didn't tell my parents I was coming home, told them I was going to be there a wee bit longer, got my best friend to pick me up from the airport. He drove me to the house, and at the time I would normally have like a Wednesday night call with my mum and dad. I phoned them from the front garden, and once I had them on the phone, I like burst into the room, and for me it was just this beautiful thing of being reunited with my parents and being able to tell them that my journey was a success. I'd found myself, I'd found what I wanted to do, and it was just amazing. And so anyway, once I was home, I did a lot of research and enrolled myself in the most comprehensive and hands-on coach training school that I could find. That was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. I've met so many incredible people that will be friends for life. And a year later, through that coach training program, I was a professionally certified life coach and energy leadership master practitioner. And after finishing that, I then went straight into getting my NLP certifications, and then from there went into investing in coaches and courses to learn about business and marketing. But while going through coach school, they encouraged us to start our business. They supported us in starting and growing the business, and I had my first paying clients. And so after getting the business off the ground, becoming a coach, doing the NLP, learning about business and marketing, and now here we are. Of course, it's not been all sparkles and sunshine. There have been failures, there have been fears to overcome, there have been setbacks, there's been blood, sweat, and tears. But that's what makes all great adventures adventures. The twists, the turns, the pitfalls, the things that shape you and make you into the person who can achieve what you set out to. And so now I have a beautiful daughter and fiance who I absolutely adore. We have a nice roof over our heads. We live a life that we would regard as an amazing life that we love, and I get to support it all doing something that I love, which is hugely important to me. And I don't share this with you to try and impress you, but to impress upon you and to show you that regardless of who you are, regardless of where you are, regardless of what your current circumstances are, it's possible to overcome adversity and struggle. It's possible to dramatically transform your health, your mindset, and your life. And more than that, regardless of whether you're starting in a crap place or a great place, it's possible for you to set and achieve goals for yourself and to thrive in life. Because I'm not special. I'm just a human being. And we're all born with the same power and potential. I just learned to look after myself, to work on myself, and to take massive action on my goals until I got there. And so this brings us nicely back full circle to why I'm creating a show about personal growth. Because working on growing and developing ourselves is the path to achieving anything in life. In fact, I would say that to grow, develop, and to achieve is to thrive in life. So really, it's a show about so much more linked together by personal growth. It's about taking good care of yourself, working on and being your very best, achieving your goals, and being a kind person along the way. Because here's the thing, if we focus on anything in life, consciously putting our time, energy, and attention into it, learning, practicing, failing, learning, repeating, then we can greatly improve at it. Think about it. Anything that you give your conscious time and attention to, you learn about it, you practice, you fail, you learn some more, you keep practicing, you do this consistently over time, you can greatly improve at it. And so, regardless of what you want to achieve in life, whether it's a certain house, a car, an amount of money, a business, a career, a family, whatever it is, all of these things, all of these results are created by us. And so by working on ourselves, becoming healthier, more energized, enthusiastic, and being driven by an intrinsic sense of motivation and purpose, we can feel better, be better, perform better, and as a result, create much greater results in our lives. And in my opinion, that's how we can truly thrive and excel at the things that are most important to us. First, we need to decide what those things are that are most important to us, to get in touch with our personal values. And this is something that's a very deep and powerful subject, one of my favourite things to go through with a client in a session. So of course, we will dedicate a full episode to values. So we want to decide what the things are that are most important to us. Then decide what we would love them to be and look like in our lives. And then from there, we can do the work on ourselves and in our lives to make those things a reality. Whether you want to thrive as a parent, partner, entrepreneur, business owner, career professional in your health, your wealth, your relationships, whatever it is, it's possible, I promise, regardless of where you're starting. To oversimplify it, it is simply a case of knowing what you want, taking massive, consistent action towards achieving it, pausing every now and then to reflect and assess how effective are my actions in moving me towards what I want, and then learning and adapting and adjusting so that you can continue to work smarter and keep going until you get the results that you want. And that, in effect, is how to achieve any goal. Know what you want, take massive action, assess how effective your action is, and then learn, adapt, and adjust until you get what you want. Now, of course, some goals will be more simple, some goals will be more difficult. Some goals we can achieve quite quickly, some goals will take more time, effort, and dedication. But if you really want something for yourself, if it's really important to you, what does it matter how long it takes? If you really, truly, deeply desire something for yourself, then dedicate your whole life to making it happen. Think about it for a second. If we spend our whole lives dedicated to working on and achieving the things that are most important to us, that sounds like a life very well lived, doesn't it? Now, of course, even if we do that, life will have its challenges, its tragedies, and its hardships for us. That's just life. But we can grow through these things. And in doing so, in pursuit of our goals, it will largely be a life of purpose, passion, adventure, excitement, and joy. Now, I'm not trying to romanticize it. It will be difficult. It will have its hardships. It will have its difficult times. But spending our whole lives dedicated to achieving what's most important to us, that's largely going to be a good life. Because a lot of your goals will be achieved. A lot may not, but if our whole life is dedicated to our goals, so many of them will be achieved. And with clarity, focus, and discipline, some of the most important ones will be. And personally, I think this is collectively how we can make the world a better place. Because when we're focused on ourselves, on our health, our happiness, our goals, and our growth, we just feel so much better, so much more fulfilled and alive, and we share that vibration with everyone that we meet. And that sense of gratitude, groundedness, and self-efficacy is a powerful vibration that does good to others and the world around us. As well as that, we're then much more likely to be kind to others. We're more likely to want to help others, and we're going to be in a much better position to do so. So in theory, we can raise the vibration of the world and help others simply by focusing on ourselves, on your health, your happiness, your goals, on your growth, on living a life that you love and doing good along the way. I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty sweet to me. Slightly idealistic? Definitely. But actually put it into practice, dedicate our lives to our goals and take action on it, and so much positivity and good can come from it. So what do you say? Do you want to take a shot at making the world a better place by focusing on being your best and creating a life that you and your loved ones love? Well, then let's do it. And let's actually take action and make it happen. Because as the great Les Brown would say, it's possible and you're worth it. Now, I know some of you hearing this will be all pumped up on purpose and possibility and raring to go. And for others, this will be a new concept and potentially a pretty big one. And so I'll leave you with a parting thought on this. Whenever I have a new goal, particularly a big or scary one, or when I'm in a place where I feel I'm struggling, life's getting the better of me, and I could really just give up, I like to bring things back down to one simple question. A question that I share with my clients and that I'm going to share with you just now. That thing, that success, that life that you want, whatever it is, if it was possible for you to have it, would you really want it? Think about that for a second. And with a simple yes or no, if it was possible for you to have it, would you want it? If the answer to that question is yes, what else matters? Because in a world of limitless resources and a universe of limitless possibilities, it's possible for you to have it. So if you really want it, that's all you need to know. And all we need to do is work out how we get it, pick our process, take action, learn and adjust along the way until we get what we want. So as we bring this to a close and today's episode ends, before you check your notifications, play that next thing or move on to whatever's next, I want you just to take a pause and think about the life, the health, the relationships, the career, the business, all those things that you want, the things that you really want and dream about. And think about those things and ask yourself this one simple question. Do you really want it? And if so, congratulations, because you know what to do next to start making it a reality. Make these things, make this life your primary focus. Take massive action towards achieving it and tune in next week and let's do this together. Next week, we'll be taking a deep dive into what it means to truly thrive in life. And so come and tune in. Let's do this together. Be ourselves, be our best, and truly thrive in life. Until next time, have a great day. Take care. Please be kind to others, and I'll catch you real soon. Peace. If you enjoyed this and you want to stay connected, then jump on over to Instagram and connect with me personally at GaryRankin_, where you'll get even more tips, tools, and powerful content to help you keep taking action and stay in the flow until next week's episode. I'll see you there.